Good day, and welcome to this tutorial video. My name is Glenn Johnson. I'm a business analyst that works with the AdCorp Group. I work in the Operations Shared Services Department, and I focus on systems. If you're watching this video, that means you have been identified as a person who is responsible for confirming employee details. You either work for the client at the client site, or you work on the operations team for the labor broker. But either way, you've been identified for this role. By now, you should know about the ERS automated workflow system that on a daily basis will email you a timesheet for yesterday's hours for the temp staff. You will see it, confirm or make changes, and send an email back to the system to make those changes. But what happens if on a daily basis your employees are shifted around to where they're needed into different cost centers and different pay rates? For example, some sites do have a standby pool. Those people arrive every day and nobody knows where they're going to work until that day. So Wednesday they come in and they're told they need to work in the receiving department. 3 new employees there. On Thursday, when the timesheet arrives for the receiving department for the hours worked by temp staff on Wednesday, you want to make sure that you see those 3 employees, those 3 new employees who joined there. You don't want to waste time by requesting a reissue of that daily timesheet that now contains those names. You want the first issue of the timesheet to be correct. Also in the system, the situation that we faced with is the fact that often there are new employees that arrive. When they are loaded onto the system by the labor broker operations or by the client, there will only be a number on the system and they need detail. So what is the quickest way? How can we use this ERS automated workflow system to quickly and easily update new employee details and move around employees to prepare tomorrow's timesheet? That's what we'll be tackling in this tutorial video. So carrying on, if you did watch the previous tutorial video on how to use the daily timesheets, you will recognize this diagram. We're not talking about the timesheets, we're obviously talking about employee confirmations. As you see here, there are 2 types, 2 reports that will be emailed from the system. The system will make a report of new employees, send it to operations or to the client. Depending on your requirements, this report could go to either operations or the client. As well as a report for current employees that might have moved to different departments or work in a different position. Operations or the client will make the required changes and email back those changes to the system so the system can record it and prepare tomorrow's timesheet. In terms of timing, let's look at 2 days on when you're doing timesheet corrections, if you are a timesheet authorizer or approver, and when you make your employee confirmations, because it must be timed correctly. If you have shift on Monday, shift on Tuesday, it's a day shift starting at 8, ending at 5 in the afternoon. Your timesheet, your daily timesheet for the previous day will arrive in the morning, let's say around 9 o'clock, or whenever you have requested it. And that will be for the previous day. You'll get your employee confirmations reports in the afternoon towards the end of the day, let's say around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Then on Tuesday, you'll get the timesheet that was generated for Monday's hours. That's when you get that and you make those approvals. Then on Tuesday afternoon, you'll get the employee confirmations looking at the next shift. Excuse me, not the next shift, the next day's timesheet. Please know that there is a link between employee confirmations on Monday afternoon and the timesheet for Tuesday morning. The employee confirmations that you make on Monday afternoon are in preparation for the timesheet that you will receive on Tuesday. Please make sure that you make these changes after you've made the changes that you've confirmed and approved the timesheet that you received in the morning. So on Tuesday, once you have approved the timesheet on Tuesday, then you will get the employee confirmations report to be sent to you so you can make those changes and prepare tomorrow's timesheet. It's very important that this is made, otherwise if you do your employee confirmations for Monday's hours before you've done the timesheet for Sunday, that may mix up Sunday's timesheets. But if you have approved everyone's positions, rate groups, cost centers, the timesheet that you received on Monday, that will ensure that those times are locked down, those allocations are locked down and will not be interfered with. I want to take you now to the employee confirmation report to show you what it looks like. You'll receive an email much like this one with an attachment. You open up the attachment and it'll open up in Excel. Please do not be alarmed by this yellow ribbon that comes up if you do get that. This is a security feature that Microsoft has built into their programs, in this case Excel, that will just show you to protected view, and you just need to select enable editing and you're good to go. To break down what this looks like, you'll see the first heading, new employee details confirmation, which is also used for current employees. Next down you'll see generated on, the date and time it was generated on, and the client name. This is this specific client, and will for your timesheet, for your employee confirmation report, your client name will be there. The next line down will show you the element of authorize a PIN. If you watched the previous workflow video on timesheets, you would have been told that this is your digital signature. This is what's proving you are you. It's your PIN code, very similar to the way a credit card PIN code works. If the wrong PIN code gets put into there, the changes that have been requested here will be rejected. So please remember, whenever you're requesting or approving these employee details, you will need to put in your PIN. Then the action sheet, you can either approve changes or say that there are no changes and send that back to the system. Next down you'll see the headings for the various departments. If you only are in charge of one department, you'll only see one department name. If you have 4, 5, 6, maybe 20 different departments, each department will be separated, and all the employees underneath each department. Then you'll see employee details over here, the PIN code, full name, and export code. Export code is a payroll employee code or the labor broker employee code. If it's a new employee, the employee has not worked, they've just been loaded that same day, you will see on the system what looks like this. The full name is the same as the PIN code. That means you need to put in that employee details. They'll have no export code and no allocations for any of the other areas over here. So you'll need to put in the person's name and export code. Now the group or their department, you'll need to put in that. In this client, these are the different departments that they have, the different groups that they have. Your employee confirmation report will be customized to your site. All the departments that are available at your site will be listed in this drop-down menu over here. You will just need to click on the block there and click the downward arrow to see the options. You can also change the cost centers and various other positions, the different positions that are available on your site. They will be available there. The rates or the levels, as well as other payroll information. Other options of changing are the shift rules. As you may know, and as might have been explained to you, the system for your site has created shift rules. When a shift starts, 8 o'clock. When a shift ends, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. When overtime kicks in, must they get night shift allowance? Must they not get night shift allowance? How much break time must be minus from their working time to give them their normal time? So we've set up shift rules on each account. The shift rules that have been set up on your account will be available in this drop-down menu. For new employees, you want to make sure that tomorrow when the system calculates their times, they're using the right calculators, the right shift calculators to work out the times correctly. So for new employees, you have the option to put them onto day shifts, as well as they might work night shifts or Friday shifts, and they might work a night shift. Maybe they come in on Saturdays. Up to 10 different shifts. You can allocate them and tell the system that this employee could possibly in the future pull through on one of these shifts. You may also know that the system will work out which shift to use based on the clock in time. If they're clocking in the morning towards 8 o'clock, that's the shift rules that they'll use. If they're clocking towards the evening, maybe 6 o'clock, when the night shift comes in, that's the shift rules that it will use. The system will work it out based on where the person is clocking. And that is how you read and make changes on a report, on a confirmation report. Once you have put in your PIN number and you've approved changes, then you can save and send it back to the system so the system can pull in those changes and record those changes. The email address that you send to is called auto@ersbiometrics.co.za. Excuse me. And you'll send them through to them. When you send the report back to the system will automatically generate what we call the PDF version, and you will know this from the previous version. We want to send you a confirmation, a record of what you have confirmed. So we'll be sending you a PDF version of this report to say, thank you very much for confirming. Here's your record for future reference should you need to use it to back up your case of in details that you have approved. And I want to show you an example of what that will look like. You'll get an email with an attachment, and then over here you'll see the heading when it was generated, but then here you'll see the date and the time and who approved those times, and that will be your details there when you approved it and what you approved down here. Alright. Before we close this up, I just want to touch on some very important aspects or things to note when you are making these changes. As already said previously, always approve yesterday's timesheet first and confirm employee details second. So the timesheet that you received today in the morning must be confirmed and approved before you send the details for the employees. In fact, most of the systems, when they set up, they will not send you a employee confirmation report until you have approved the hours. This is so that the information for today is not interfering the information from yesterday's timesheet. When making changes to current employees, please do not change their names or their employee numbers. Only do this for new employees, which is this next point we'll get to. Do not change their names, because this will make changes on the system as permanent changes, and it's not something that you want. You want to keep the names unless the names are incorrect. The spelling is wrong. They come to you and say, no, I'm James with a J, not a G, or whatever example. Then you can make the change over here. But please, as a rule of thumb, please do not make changes to current employees' names or employee numbers. New employees, you can add all details. Don't change the PIN number. The first number that you see on the first column, leave that. Do not change that, because that's the number that the system will look to pull in the rest of your changes. If I can give you an example, this is your PIN number. If you change that to 123456, the system is looking for that number to pull in these changes. If it doesn't find that number, it won't identify any employee that is reflecting that number, so it won't pull in those changes. So that is that. That is how you quickly and easily make corrections and changes to new employees and current employees, so that tomorrow when you get your timesheet, you don't have to request a reissue. First time right, saving you time. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's been informative. If there are any questions, please contact your labor broker representative, and they will pass you on to the correct person to speak to. Thank you very much. Goodbye.